Hello and welcome to today's Delta Credit Tip. So you defaulted on a business loan. What can you turn to help protect you as a borrower in this situation? Maybe the Fair Credit Reporting Act, maybe the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Well, stay tuned. We're going to fill you in on today's Delta Credit Tip. Hello and welcome back to today's Delta Credit Tip. I'm Michael Holmes from Delta Credit Restoration, yet bringing you more information to help you in your credit restoration process. Today we're talking business credit default and what your rights are and what the laws are that are going to protect you. So hopefully you'll find this information helpful. If so, give us that thumbs up. Don't forget subscribe and hit the notification bell so that every week as we come out with more information to help you in your credit restoration process, you get this information right out of the gate and you can use it right away. Okay, so let's talk about that business debt. Okay, one thing that we as a credit card company really kind of encourage our customers to do is to have multiple streams of income. And the easiest way to do that is to set up a small business. It could be an online business, it could be a retail business, it could be a service-related business. But having that multiple stream of income is a really big lifesaver sometimes financially. But sometimes those businesses don't quite work out. And if you default on a business loan, things are a lot different than when you default on a consumer loan. Now, with any kind of debt and debt collection and that sort of thing, there are two sets of laws. There are both the federal laws and the state laws. Okay, so from a federal perspective, as a consumer, you can always count on the Fair Credit Reporting Act. You can depend on the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and you can also rely on the Fair Debt Collection Practices Acts per state. But in the case of business debt, that isn't exactly going to hold any water because all of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and the Fair Credit Reporting Act laws are designed to help consumers, individual consumers with household accounts, right? And the reason why is because of what they call the layman effect. If I as a person am borrowing money against the behemoth of, so let's say, Bank of America, it is not assumed that I am going to understand to the same degree the laws and regulations and rules and all that other stuff that Bank of America will. And so these laws are supposed to level the playing field a little bit. But if I've got business A getting into a contract with business B and something goes south, whether it's a credit card transaction or some sort of agreement of services or whatever, it's assumed that these two businesses are equals. There is no layman in this situation. So none of these laws apply. Now, what you may want to look towards are the state laws. Now, granted, there are always going to be things like exemptions, like certain things that you as a person, you're going to be able to exempt from collection activities and that sort of thing, but it's minuscule to say the least. In every state, again, they're going to have their own guidelines, but in most states, again, it's still very minuscule. Here in the state of Florida, the only rules and regulations that commercial debt collectors have is that they have to register with the state. That's pretty much it. And then it excludes any debt collector that's outside the state that's collecting from a debt that started outside the state, but you are now in the state. It also excludes any lawyers, any title companies, real estate brokers. I mean, there's a lot of exemptions to that rule. It's just strictly those that are in the business primarily of being a commercial debt collector. Okay. The only other thing that you can really hang your hat on is this made up commercial collection agency association, where it's just something that they pay a due to every year to say that they're qualified to be a debt collector, and they give them some sort of tutorials every now and then. But more importantly, what those associations are doing are just simply making them better debt collectors, okay, and teaching them the ins and outs of how to do what they do better, not necessarily not infringing on your personal rights, but really there are none. So if you're going to go out and get business debt, the one thing that you're going to want to do to help protect yourself is make sure that you're not signing on as a personal guarantor. Because then now, really what this boils down to is, where does your liability personally start? And in 99% of most business loan situations, whether it's a credit card, business line of credit, or business loan, equipment loan, or even commercial property, you as the owner are going to have to sign as a personal guarantor. So that liability is going to transfer from that business entity onto you. And now all of your personal assets can be attacked as well. So if you have not established business credit exclusively for your business, where you can keep your social security number off of that application and keep yourself from signing on as a personal guarantor, that is really the only layer of defense that you're going to have to protect yourself against commercial collection agencies. The problem is how are you going to do it? And without having a really, really successful business or a longly established business, it's going to be very difficult. As a matter of fact, SBA requires it, that if anybody that has 20% ownership of the business and up to 80% of the business have to sign as personal guarantors. So there are very specific banks out there that will do business loans without a personal guarantor. If you're trying to establish some business for your credit, make sure you're asking that bank before you apply, hey, do you provide that option where it's only my tax ID that you will take and not me as a personal guarantor? If the answer is no, go to the next lender. Once a lender says yes, then you need to find out, well, what are the criteria that my business has to display to make this go through? And that will hopefully protect you, at least personally, from the commercial collection agencies that are going to come after those defaulted debts. All right. So again, hope this information helped. If so, give us that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so that we help you every week when we come out with new stuff. In the meantime, make the choice, make the change. Delta.